There is something beautiful about growing older that many people never talk about. When we are young, we often believe that aging is mostly about losing things. We think about losing strength, losing speed, losing opportunities, or losing the appearance we once had. The world constantly reminds us of wrinkles, gray hair, aching joints, and all the changes that come with time. But what if aging is not only about what you lose? What if it is also about what you keep? Today, I want to talk to those of you between the ages of 65 and 85. Maybe you are sitting in your favorite chair right now. Maybe you are listening while looking out a window. Maybe you are remembering people you loved who are no longer here. And perhaps, without realizing it, you have been measuring yourself against impossible standards. You look at your reflection and see an older face. You compare your energy to what it was 20 years ago. You wonder why certain tasks take longer. You notice that your body doesn't always cooperate the way it once did. But there is another way to measure aging, a much wiser way. Instead of asking, "What have I lost?" perhaps we should ask, "What abilities have I managed to keep?" Because there are certain abilities that become incredibly valuable as we grow older. And if you still have these abilities, you may be aging far better than you realize. The first ability is the ability to remain curious about life. At first glance, curiosity may not seem important. Many people think strength matters more. Others think money matters more. Some believe health is everything. Yet curiosity is one of the strongest signs that a person's spirit remains alive. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who stopped being curious? They stopped asking questions, stopped learning, stopped exploring, stopped caring about what tomorrow might bring. Their world became smaller and smaller. Not because their body failed them, but because their interest in life faded. Now think about the opposite. Think about the 75-year-old woman who decides to learn how to use a smartphone. Think about the 82-year-old man who starts reading books about history because he wants to understand the world better. Think about the grandmother who learns how to video call her grandchildren. Think about the grandfather who starts gardening and becomes fascinated by how plants grow. These people are doing something extraordinary. They are proving that age has not closed their minds. Years ago, there was a man named Robert who lived alone after losing his wife. For months, he spent his days feeling lost. The silence in his home felt overwhelming. The chair beside him remained empty. The conversations he once enjoyed had disappeared. Many people expected him to slowly withdraw from life. Instead, something unexpected happened. One afternoon, he walked into a local library. He wasn't looking for anything specific. He simply wanted to get out of the house. While walking through the aisles, he discovered a book about astronomy. He checked it out. Then another. Then another. Soon he became fascinated by stars, planets, and galaxies. At age 78, Robert joined a community astronomy club. He attended meetings, made new friends, learned new things, and found a reason to look forward to tomorrow. What changed? His age did not change. His circumstances did not magically improve. What changed was his curiosity. Curiosity gave him a new beginning. Many people assume that growing older means reaching the end of discovery. The truth is often the opposite. Older adults who remain curious tend to stay more engaged with life. They continue finding meaning in ordinary moments. They remain connected to people. They keep their minds active. Most importantly, they continue growing. And growth is not reserved for the young. Growth belongs to anyone willing to learn. If you still find yourself interested in life, if you still enjoy learning something new, if you still ask questions, if you still wonder how things work, you possess a gift that many people lose long before old age. The second ability is the ability to adapt. Life rarely unfolds according to plan. Every person listening to this has experienced unexpected changes. Some lost careers, some lost loved ones, some faced illness, some watched entire chapters of their lives disappear. Adaptation is not about pretending these losses do not hurt. It is about continuing forward despite them. One of the strongest people I ever heard about was an elderly woman named Margaret. She spent more than 50 years living in the same home. Every room held memories. Every wall told a story. Then circumstances forced her to move. She cried while packing. She cried during the move. She cried when she arrived at her new apartment. Anyone would have. But something remarkable happened afterward. Instead of remaining trapped in sadness, she slowly adapted. She decorated her new space, introduced herself to neighbors, joined community activities, created fresh routines. Within a year, she often told people she felt at home again. Was it the same as before? No. But adaptation allowed her to build a new life from what remained. That is resilience. Many older adults underestimate how resilient they truly are. Look at everything you have already survived. Think about the challenges you faced decades ago. At the time, some of those situations probably felt impossible. Yet here you are, still standing, still moving forward, still finding ways to adjust. Every adaptation becomes proof of your strength. And if you still possess the ability to adjust when life changes, you are aging better than most people realize. The third ability is one that touches the heart deeply. It is the ability to form meaningful connections. As people grow older, social circles often become smaller. Retirement changes daily interactions. Children move away. Friends relocate. Some loved ones pass away. The danger is not simply loneliness. The danger is believing that connection is no longer possible. But human beings need connection at every stage of life. We need conversations. We need laughter. We need understanding. We need moments when another person truly sees us. I remember hearing about an elderly gentleman who visited the same coffee shop every morning. At first, he sat alone. He ordered the same drink, read the newspaper, then left. One day, a younger customer started saying hello. A simple greeting, nothing more. Over time, small conversations began. Then friendships formed. Before long, several people at the coffee shop knew his name. Birthdays were celebrated. Stories were shared. Memories were exchanged. What started as a simple hello became a community. Many people believe meaningful relationships only happen during youth. That is not true. Friendship has no expiration date. Connection has no age limit. If you still open your heart to others, if you still enjoy conversations, if you still care about people, if you still find joy in shared moments, then you possess one of life's most valuable abilities. And that ability becomes even more precious with age. The truth is that aging well is not about looking young. It is not about having perfect health. It is not about pretending time does not exist. Aging well is about preserving the qualities that make life meaningful. Curiosity, adaptability, connection. These are not small things. They are powerful signs of a life that continues to grow. And as we continue this journey together, you may discover that you are far stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever imagined. Because some of the greatest victories in life are not measured by what remains on the outside. They are measured by what remains alive within the heart. And if these abilities still live inside you today, then perhaps you are aging better than most. There is a question that many people quietly ask themselves as they grow older. It is not a question they always speak aloud. Sometimes it appears during a quiet afternoon. Sometimes it comes while sitting alone at the kitchen table. Sometimes it arrives late at night when the house is silent. The question is simple. Have my best days already passed? Many people over the age of 65 carry this thought somewhere in their hearts. After all, they have lived through so much. They remember childhood adventures. They remember falling in love. They remember building careers, raising families, buying homes, celebrating birthdays, weddings, holidays, and countless milestones. When they look back, those memories can seem larger than life, and compared to those exciting years, the present can sometimes feel quieter, slower, less dramatic. But there is something important that many people do not realize. The happiest older adults are not necessarily the ones who are still chasing extraordinary moments. Very often, they are the people who have learned how to find extraordinary meaning in ordinary days. This is the fourth ability that reveals whether someone is aging better than most. It is the ability to find joy in simple moments. At first, this may not sound like a remarkable ability. In fact, it may sound almost too simple. But think about it carefully. How many people spend their entire lives waiting for happiness? Waiting for the next vacation? Waiting for more money? Waiting for retirement? Waiting for perfect circumstances? Waiting for something big to happen? They spend so much time chasing future happiness that they miss the small joys already sitting in front of them. Then one day they realize years have passed. The moments they were waiting for never fully arrived. Or if they did arrive, they were gone almost as quickly as they came. Meanwhile, the truly meaningful moments were quietly happening every day. A warm cup of coffee, a conversation with a friend, the sound of rain on the roof, a grandchild's laughter, the comfort of a familiar chair, the beauty of a sunset, the feeling of sunlight through a window. These moments seem ordinary, yet they are often the moments that create a meaningful life. There was an elderly woman named Helen who lived alone after her husband passed away. For a long time, she struggled with sadness. Every room reminded her of what she had lost. Every holiday felt different. Every family gathering carried an empty space. One afternoon, her granddaughter visited. As they sat together on the porch, the little girl pointed toward the garden and said something simple. "Grandma, the flowers are dancing." Helen looked up. The flowers were moving gently in the wind. She smiled. It was such a small moment. A moment many people would overlook. But something shifted inside her. She began paying attention again. Not to the losses, not to the sadness, but to the beauty that still existed around her. Each morning she started drinking her tea on the porch. She listened to birds. She watched butterflies. She admired the changing seasons. She noticed things she had ignored for years. Slowly, her life became richer. Not because her circumstances changed, but because her attention changed. She rediscovered joy. And that joy had been there all along. Many people believe happiness comes from adding more things to life. Often, happiness comes from noticing what is already there. This ability becomes especially valuable during the later years of life, because aging teaches us something that youth often overlooks. Life is not measured only by major events. Life is measured by moments, tiny moments, quiet moments, moments that disappear almost as soon as they arrive. When older adults learn to appreciate these moments, something remarkable happens. Their world becomes larger instead of smaller. Their days become richer instead of emptier. Their hearts become lighter instead of heavier. If you can still find joy in watching birds outside your window, if you still smile when your favorite song plays, if you still enjoy conversations with loved ones, if you still appreciate a beautiful morning sky, then you possess a gift that many people spend decades searching for. The ability to enjoy life exactly as it is. And that ability is a powerful sign of successful aging. Now let's talk about the fifth ability. This one may be the most important of all. It is the ability to keep hope alive. Hope is a fascinating thing. It cannot be touched. It cannot be measured. It cannot be bought. Yet it influences every part of our lives. Hope is what allows a person to keep moving forward after disappointment. Hope is what helps someone recover after loss. Hope is what encourages us to believe tomorrow may hold something good. Without hope, life becomes heavy. With hope, even difficult days become manageable. Many younger people assume hope belongs to youth. They think hope is for people starting careers, building families, or planning futures. But some of the strongest hope in the world is often found among older adults, because their hope has survived storms. Their hope has survived heartbreak. Their hope has survived loss. Their hope has been tested and proven. I once heard a story about a man named James. At age 81, He faced one of the most difficult years of his life. His health had declined. Several close friends had passed away. His daily routines became more challenging. Many people expected him to become bitter. Some expected him to give up, but every morning he continued following the same habit. He would wake up, open the curtains, and say aloud, "Let's see what today brings." Not because every day was easy. Not because every day was joyful. But because he still believed life had something to offer. That belief changed everything. His circumstances were not perfect. His body was aging. His challenges were real. Yet his hope remained stronger than his problems. Hope does not mean ignoring reality. Hope means believing that reality is not the whole story. There is a difference. Some people think hopeful individuals are simply lucky. In truth, hope is often a choice, a daily choice. A courageous choice, a choice to keep looking for light even when darkness exists. The older we become, the more valuable hope becomes. Because life inevitably brings losses. Dreams change or leave. Health changes. Plans shift. Yet hope allows us to continue finding meaning. It allows us to remain open to new friendships, new experiences, new memories, new blessings. There is a reason why some elderly people seem to radiate warmth wherever they go. It is not because their lives were easier. It is not because they avoided pain. Very often, it is because they chose hope repeatedly throughout their lives, and hope transformed them. If you still look forward to tomorrow, if you still believe good things can happen, if you still make plans, if you still dream, even in small ways, then you are carrying one of the strongest signs of healthy aging. The world often measures aging through numbers: age, weight, blood pressure, medical reports. While these things matter, they do not tell the whole story. The human spirit cannot be measured by a number. A person can be 80 years old and still possess remarkable vitality. Another person can be much younger yet feel emotionally exhausted. The difference is often found in these abilities: the ability to remain curious, the ability to adapt, the ability to connect, the ability to find joy, the ability to hold on to hope. These qualities create a richness that no birthday can take away. As you listen today, perhaps you recognize some of these abilities within yourself. Maybe you never thought about them before. Maybe you focused more on what has changed than on what has remained. But take a moment to appreciate yourself. Look honestly at the challenges you have overcome. Look at the wisdom you have gained. Look at the strength that carried you through difficult seasons. You may be far more resilient than you realize. There is something that happens to many people as they grow older. It happens so gradually that they often do not notice it. Year after year, they become less aware of their own strength. Not because they have become weaker, not because they have accomplished less, but because they have become accustomed to carrying burdens. Think about the people who have lived 65, 70, 75, or even 85 years. How many challenges have they survived? How many disappointments have they endured? How many difficult decisions have they made? How many times have they had to keep going when they felt like giving up? The answer is usually more than they can count. Yet something curious happens. Instead of seeing themselves as strong, many older adults focus on what they can no longer do. They notice the stairs that feel harder to climb. They notice names that sometimes take longer to remember. They notice ACAs that were not there years ago. They notice changes in their energy, and little by little, they begin to overlook something extraordinary. They overlook the incredible resilience they have built over an entire lifetime. This resilience is one of the greatest indicators that a person is aging better than most. Because true strength is not measured by muscles. It is measured by endurance. And few people possess more endurance than someone who has spent decades navigating life's storms. I want you to imagine an old oak tree. A young tree may look beautiful. Its branches are fresh. Its leaves are vibrant. Its trunk is smooth. But it has not yet faced many storms. The old oak tree is different. Its bark is rough. Its branches may not be perfect. Some limbs may have broken long ago, yet it remains standing. Why? Because its roots have grown deep, very deep. The storms that could have destroyed it instead strengthened it. In many ways, older adults are like that oak tree. The hardships they have survived have created roots of wisdom, patience, and resilience. But because those roots are hidden, people often forget they are there. Several years ago, there was a man named Walter who had recently turned 80. One afternoon, his grandson asked him a question. "Grandpa, what was the hardest thing you ever lived through?" Walter smiled softly. Then he began telling stories. He talked about losing a job when he was young and wondering how he would support his family. He talked about caring for a sick parent. He talked about financial struggles. He talked about losing close friends. He talked about the day his wife passed away after decades together. The grandson listened carefully. When Walter finished, the boy looked surprised. "I didn't know you went through all that." Walter nodded. Most people didn't, because he rarely talked about it. But the truth was simple. The man sitting in that chair had survived challenges that would have overwhelmed many people. Yet he no longer thought of those experiences as extraordinary. To him, they were simply part of life. That is often how resilience works. The strongest people frequently underestimate their own strength because carrying burdens became normal for them. If you are over 65, think for a moment about everything you have lived through. Think about the obstacles. Think about the setbacks. Think about the heartbreaks. Think about the moments when you were unsure whether you could continue. Now think about this. You made it. You are still here. That alone says something powerful about you. The world often celebrates visible achievements, promotions, awards, wealth, recognition. But some of the greatest achievements never appear on a certificate. They exist quietly inside the human spirit. The ability to endure, the ability to recover, the ability to keep moving forward. These qualities become more valuable with age because they cannot be purchased. They cannot be borrowed. They can only be earned through experience. Another sign that you may be aging better than most is your ability to remain kind despite life's hardships. This is far more difficult than many people realize. Pain has a way of changing people. Disappointment can make people bitter. Loss can make people withdraw. Betrayal can make people distrust others. Yet some individuals experience these things and somehow remain kind. Not naive, not weak, kind. That kind of kindness is not accidental. It is a sign of emotional strength. There was a woman named Evelyn who volunteered at a local community center. Every week she spent hours helping people she barely knew. She greeted everyone with warmth. She listened to their stories. She encouraged them. One day someone asked her why she spent so much time helping others. Her answer surprised them. She said, "Because I know what it feels like to need kindness." Years earlier, Evelyn had experienced tremendous loss. She had endured heartbreak that could have made her hard and angry. Instead, she allowed her pain to deepen her compassion. Rather than closing her heart, she opened it wider. That is a remarkable achievement. Many older adults carry this type of quiet wisdom. They understand that every person is fighting battles others cannot see. They know what it feels like to struggle. They know what it feels like to worry. They know what it feels like to grieve. As a result, they often treat others with greater patience and understanding. If you still show kindness to people, if you still offer encouragement, if you still care about others despite your own challenges, then you possess a strength that is becoming increasingly rare. Another hidden ability that reveals successful aging is gratitude. Gratitude does not mean pretending life is perfect. It does not mean ignoring difficulties. Instead, gratitude means recognizing blessings even while challenges exist. This ability becomes especially important as people grow older, because aging naturally brings change. Some changes are welcome, others are not. The danger is becoming so focused on what has been lost that we stop noticing what remains. There is an old story about two neighbors. Both were in their 70s. Both faced similar health issues. Both lived alone. Both experienced difficulties. Yet their outlooks were completely different. The first neighbor spent most days talking about everything that had gone wrong. The second neighbor often spoke about things she appreciated. A phone call from her daughter, a beautiful sunrise, a good meal, a kind neighbor, a pleasant memory. Their circumstances were similar, but their experiences of life were very different. One focused almost entirely on losses. The other continued noticing blessings. Over time, gratitude transformed her daily experience. Many of the happiest older adults share this trait. They have learned to treasure small gifts. They understand that life does not need to be perfect to be meaningful. In fact, some of life's most precious moments arrive after we stop expecting perfection. Perhaps gratitude becomes easier with age because older adults understand something younger people often forget. Nothing lasts forever. Not youth, not possessions, not opportunities, not even people. When we truly understand this, ordinary moments become more valuable. A simple conversation becomes precious. A family gathering becomes meaningful. A quiet morning becomes a gift. This perspective creates richness that cannot be purchased. And then there is another powerful ability. The ability to inspire others without realizing it. Many seniors underestimate the impact they have on younger generations. They assume people are not paying attention, but they are. Children watch, grandchildren watch, neighbors watch, friends watch. People notice how you respond to adversity. People notice your character. People notice your patience. People notice your wisdom. Sometimes your greatest legacy is not what you achieved. Sometimes it is who you became. A granddaughter may remember how her grandmother always made people feel welcome. A grandson may remember how his grandfather remained calm during difficult times. A friend may remember your encouragement during a challenging season. These memories matter more than you may ever know. The truth is that many older adults are teaching lessons every day without speaking a word. Their lives become examples. Their attitudes become examples. Their perseverance becomes an example. Their courage becomes an example. And perhaps that is one of the most beautiful parts of aging, the opportunity to become a source of wisdom for others. Not because you are perfect, but because you have lived, you have experienced enough of life to understand what truly matters. As we continue this journey together, remember this important truth. You are far more than the number on your birthday cake. You are more than your physical limitations. You are more than your challenges. You are the sum of decades of lessons, victories, heartbreaks, growth, courage, and love. And if you still carry resilience, kindness, gratitude, and the ability to inspire others, then you possess treasures that many people spend a lifetime trying to find. One of the greatest misunderstandings about aging is the belief that life gradually becomes smaller. Many people imagine that after retirement, after the children grow up, after certain dreams have been fulfilled or left behind, there is little left to discover. They assume that the most important chapters have already been written. They look at older adults and see only the years behind them. They rarely think about the years still ahead. But those who age well understand something different. They understand that life does not stop offering opportunities simply because a person reaches a certain age. In fact, some of life's deepest lessons, strongest relationships, and most meaningful moments often arrive later than expected. This is why another powerful sign that you are aging better than most is your ability to remain emotionally open. Being emotionally open does not mean sharing every feeling with everyone. It means your heart has not completely closed itself off from life. You still allow yourself to care. You still allow yourself to love. You still allow yourself to hope. You still allow yourself to feel joy. And perhaps most importantly, you still allow yourself to be moved by the world around you. There was an 82-year-old man named Frank who had experienced tremendous loss. Over the years, he buried close friends, He lost family members. He watched entire seasons of his life disappear into memory. Many people expected him to become distant and guarded. Instead, he remained one of the warmest people anyone could meet. He smiled easily. He welcomed conversations. He showed genuine interest in others. One day someone asked him how he stayed so open after experiencing so much pain. Frank thought for a moment before answering. Then he said something beautiful. "If I close my heart to avoid pain, I also close it to love." That simple statement carried decades of wisdom. Many people spend years building emotional walls. They fear disappointment. They fear loss. They fear getting hurt. So they protect themselves by becoming emotionally distant. Unfortunately, those walls often keep joy out as effectively as they keep pain out. People like Frank understand a different truth. Life always contains risk. Every friendship carries the risk of goodbye. Every relationship carries vulnerability. Every meaningful experience carries uncertainty. Yet the rewards are worth it, because an open heart allows us to fully experience life. If you still feel deeply, if you still care about people, if you still become emotional when hearing a touching story, if you still feel compassion for others, then your spirit remains remarkably strong. Another sign that you are aging better than most is your ability to forgive. Forgiveness is one of the hardest things human beings ever do. Many people carry old wounds for decades. They remember harsh words, broken promises, betrayals, arguments, disappointments. Some memories become so deeply rooted that they seem impossible to release. Yet holding on to bitterness creates a heavy burden, a burden that becomes heavier with time. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending something never happened. And it certainly does not mean excusing harmful behavior. Forgiveness means choosing not to let past pain control the rest of your life. There was a woman named Ruth who spent years feeling hurt by a family conflict. A disagreement had created distance between her and a close relative. For nearly 15 years they barely spoke. Birthdays passed. Holidays passed. Important moments passed. Both waited for the other person to make the first move. Then one day Ruth experienced a realization. She understood that time was becoming increasingly precious. The years ahead were fewer than the years behind. She decided to reach out. The conversation was awkward at first. There were tears. There were difficult emotions, but there was also healing. Years of separation began to dissolve. Looking back later, Ruth often said that making that phone call was one of the best decisions of her life. Not because it erased the past, but because it allowed her to move forward without carrying so much pain. Forgiveness is a sign of emotional maturity. It demonstrates strength rather than weakness, and many older adults possess this wisdom because life has taught them what truly matters. As people age, they often begin to understand that peace is more valuable than winning arguments. Relationships become more important than pride. Love becomes more important than being right. If you have learned to forgive, if you have learned to let go of certain resentments, if you value peace over conflict, then you possess an ability that many people never fully develop. Another powerful sign of successful aging is the ability to remain present. This sounds simple, but it is becoming increasingly rare. Many people spend their lives trapped in one of two places. They either live in the past or they worry about the future. They replay old regrets, they revisit old mistakes, or they constantly fear what tomorrow might bring. As a result, they miss today. Yet some older adults develop a beautiful awareness of the present moment. They learn to appreciate where they are. They understand that life is happening now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Now, there was a retired schoolteacher named Clara who followed a simple daily routine. Every evening she sat on her porch for 20 minutes. No television, no phone, no distractions. She simply watched the sunset. A neighbor once asked why she did this every day. Clara smiled. Then she said, "Because this sunset will never happen again." What a remarkable perspective. She understood something many people forget. Every day is unique. Every moment is unique. Every conversation is unique. Life is constantly changing. The sunset she witnessed today would never be repeated exactly the same way. So she paid attention. She allowed herself to fully experience it. That ability transformed ordinary moments into meaningful ones. When we remain present, life becomes richer. Food tastes better. Conversations feel deeper. Relationships become stronger. Simple experiences become memorable. If you still pause to appreciate a beautiful sky, if you still enjoy listening to birds sing, if you still notice small details around you, then you are practicing a skill that supports emotional well-being at every age. There is another sign that deserves attention. It is the ability to keep a sense of purpose. Purpose is not limited to careers. Many people mistakenly believe purpose ends when work ends. Nothing could be further from the truth. Purpose can take many forms: helping grandchildren, volunteering, mentoring younger people, caring for friends, creating art, gardening, writing, learning, encouraging others. Purpose simply means having a reason to get up in the morning, a reason to contribute, a reason to remain engaged with life. One man named Harold discovered this after retirement. For months he felt lost. His career had defined much of his identity. Without it, he struggled to understand his role. Then he began volunteering at a local literacy program. He helped children learn to read. At first, he thought he was simply teaching words. Soon he realized he was helping build confidence. He was shaping futures. He was making a difference. The sense of purpose he found was even more meaningful than many parts of his career. Purpose gave him energy. Purpose gave him direction. Purpose gave him joy. If you still have something that gives your days meaning, if you still feel useful, if you still believe you can positively affect others, then you possess one of the strongest indicators of healthy aging. Perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: aging well is not about avoiding wrinkles. It is not about looking younger than your age. It is not about pretending time does not pass. Aging well is about preserving the qualities that make life meaningful: an open heart, a forgiving spirit, a present mind, a strong sense of purpose. These qualities cannot be purchased. They cannot be inherited. They are developed through experience, through challenges, through victories, through heartbreak, through growth. And if these qualities still live within you today, then you are carrying treasures far more valuable than youth itself. Because while youth is temporary, wisdom can continue growing throughout an entire lifetime. As we reach the final part of this journey together, I want to ask you a simple question. When was the last time you gave yourself credit for everything you have survived? Not everything you have achieved. Not everything you have earned. Not everything you have accomplished. But everything you have survived. For many people between the ages of 65 and 85, the answer is probably, I don't remember. Most older adults spend very little time recognizing their own strength. Instead, they focus on their limitations. They notice the things they cannot do as easily as before. They compare themselves to younger versions of themselves. They think about the energy they once had, the opportunities they once enjoyed, the abilities they once took for granted. But what if you looked at your life differently? What if, instead of focusing on what has changed, you focused on what has remained? What if you looked at the qualities that are still alive inside you? The curiosity that keeps you learning, the adaptability that helps you face change, the ability to connect with others, the joy you still find in simple moments, the hope that still helps you move forward, the resilience you have built through decades of challenges, the kindness you continue to show despite your own struggles, the gratitude that helps you appreciate what remains, the wisdom you quietly share with others, the purpose that still gives meaning to your days. When you look at these things, a different picture begins to emerge. A picture that many people never see. A picture that reveals just how well you may actually be aging. Because successful aging is not measured only by physical health. It is measured by the condition of the heart, the strength of the spirit, the richness of the mind, and many older adults possess these qualities in abundance. There is a story about an elderly woman named Dorothy. She was 84 years old when someone asked her what she considered the secret to a good life. The person expected a complicated answer, perhaps advice about money, perhaps advice about health, perhaps advice about success. Instead, Dorothy smiled and said something surprisingly simple. I learned to stop counting what I lost and start appreciating what I still have. Those words contain tremendous wisdom, because loss is a natural part of life. Everyone experiences it. Youth eventually fades. Circumstances change. People come and go. Nothing remains exactly the same. Yet, while losses are unavoidable, they do not tell the entire story. There are also things that remain. There are relationships. There are memories. There is wisdom. There is character. There is love. There is perspective. There is growth. There is gratitude. There is hope. And these things often become stronger with age. One reason older adults sometimes underestimate themselves is because society often focuses heavily on youth. Advertisements celebrate youth. Television celebrates youth. Social media celebrates youth. The message is repeated over and over again. Young is better. Young is stronger. Young is more valuable. But real life tells a different story. Youth may have energy, but age often brings wisdom. Youth may have speed, but age often brings perspective. Youth may have confidence, but age often brings understanding. Youth may know many things, but age often understands what truly matters. Think about the people who have influenced your life the most. Chances are many of them were older individuals, parents, grandparents, teachers, mentors, neighbors, friends, people whose wisdom came from experience. People who had lived enough life to understand things that cannot be learned from books. Their value was never based on how young they looked. Their value came from who they were. And the same is true for you. Your worth does not decrease because your hair turns gray. Your value does not disappear because your body changes. Your importance does not fade with age. In many ways, the opposite is true. The experiences you have gathered make you uniquely valuable. There are lessons inside you that younger generations need. Lessons about perseverance, lessons about patience, lessons about relationships, lessons about gratitude, lessons about courage, lessons about surviving difficult seasons. The world needs those lessons, perhaps more than ever. There is another reason why many older adults are aging better than they realize. They have developed perspective. Perspective is one of life's greatest gifts. When we are young, small problems often feel enormous. A disappointment feels like the end of the world. A setback feels permanent. A mistake feels devastating. But experience changes us. Years teach us that most storms eventually pass. Years teach us that difficult moments rarely last forever. Years teach us that life continues moving forward. This perspective creates emotional stability. It helps people remain calm during challenges. It helps them avoid unnecessary worry. It helps them focus on what truly matters. And that perspective is something only time can provide. Another beautiful sign of healthy aging is the ability to appreciate relationships more deeply. Many older adults understand something younger people sometimes overlook. People matter more than possessions. Connection matters more than status. Love matters more than achievements. At the end of life, most people do not wish they had spent more time worrying. They do not wish they had worked longer hours. They do not wish they had accumulated more possessions. Instead, they cherish memories of people, family gatherings, friendships, conversations, acts of kindness, shared laughter, moments of love. This understanding often grows stronger with age. It creates a deeper appreciation for relationships, a deeper appreciation for time, a deeper appreciation for life itself. There is also something powerful about reaching later life with a sense of peace. Not perfect peace. No one has perfect peace, but a growing acceptance of life's realities, an understanding that every season has value, a willingness to embrace the present moment. Many seniors develop this wisdom through years of experience. They stop chasing impossible standards. They stop trying to impress everyone. They stop worrying about things they cannot control. Instead, they focus on what matters most: love, faith, family, friendship, gratitude. These priorities often create a deeper sense of fulfillment than many people experience during younger years. And this brings us back to the title of today's message. Ages 65 to 85, if you still have these 5 abilities, you're aging better than most. Perhaps by now you realize those abilities are about far more than physical skills. They are about the qualities that keep life meaningful. The ability to remain curious, the ability to adapt, the ability to connect, the ability to find joy, the ability to keep hope alive. Along the way, we also discovered resilience, kindness, gratitude, forgiveness, purpose, and emotional strength. These are the true markers of successful aging. Not perfection, not youthfulness, not comparison, but character. The beautiful truth is that many of these qualities actually grow stronger with age. They deepen, they mature, they become more refined. Just as a tree develops stronger roots over time, human beings often develop deeper wisdom through experience. So if you are listening today and wondering whether you are aging well, consider this. Do you still care about people? Do you still appreciate beauty? Do you still learn new things? Do you still find reasons to smile? Do you still believe tomorrow holds possibilities? Do you still get back up after difficult days? Do you still offer kindness? Do you still love? If the answer is yes, then you may be doing far better than you think. Because aging successfully is not about becoming younger. It is about becoming more fully yourself, more compassionate, more grateful, more resilient, more wise. And perhaps that is one of the greatest achievements a person can ever accomplish. As the years pass, your story continues to matter. Your presence continues to matter. Your wisdom continues to matter. Your example continues to matter. Never underestimate the impact of a life that has been lived with courage, kindness, and hope. Because long after achievements are forgotten and possessions disappear, those qualities remain, and they continue touching lives in ways you may never fully see. So the next time you look in the mirror, do not focus only on the years that have passed. Look at the strength that remains. Look at the wisdom that remains. Look at the love that remains. Look at the hope that remains. And remember this: you are not simply growing older. You are becoming the living proof that a meaningful life is not measured by age, but by the qualities that endure through every season of it. Before we say goodbye, I want you to do something very simple. For just a moment, stop thinking about your age. Stop thinking about the number of candles that would be on your birthday cake. Stop thinking about the wrinkles, the gray hair, the aches, the medications, the doctor visits, or the physical changes that naturally come with time. Instead, think about your journey. Think about where you started. Think about the child you once were, the dreams you carried, the fears you faced, the mistakes you made, the lessons you learned, the people you loved, the people you lost, the victories you celebrated, the battles you fought when nobody else could see them. Think about every chapter that brought you to this moment. Because when you look at your life that way, something remarkable becomes clear. You are not simply a person who has grown older. You are a person who has lived. And there is a difference. Anyone can grow older. Time guarantees that. But not everyone truly lives. Not everyone learns from life's experiences. Not everyone develops wisdom from hardship. Not everyone turns pain into compassion. Not everyone transforms disappointment into strength. Not everyone discovers gratitude in difficult seasons. Yet you are here, still moving forward, still learning, still finding meaning, still carrying stories that only you can tell. That alone is something worth celebrating. Throughout this video, we talked about 5 abilities that reveal whether someone is aging better than most. At first, they may have seemed surprisingly simple. curiosity, adaptability, connection, joy, hope. But as we explored them together, we discovered something deeper. These abilities are not merely habits. They are reflections of the human spirit. They reveal whether a person has remained engaged with life. They reveal whether the heart is still open. They reveal whether the soul continues to find reasons to move forward. Because aging successfully has very little to do with perfection. No one reaches their 70s or 80s without scars. No one arrives at this stage of life without regrets. No one escapes disappointment. No one avoids loss. The people who age well are not the people who avoided hardship. They are the people who continued growing despite hardship. They are the people who remained kind despite being hurt. They are the people who remained hopeful despite setbacks. They are the people who continued loving despite loss. They are the people who refused to allow life's difficulties to harden their hearts. And if you recognize those qualities within yourself, then you deserve more credit than you may realize. Many older adults spend years underestimating themselves. They compare their current abilities to their younger selves. They focus on what they can no longer do. They measure themselves against unrealistic standards. But what if you measured yourself differently? What if you measured yourself by your courage? What if you measured yourself by your resilience? What if you measured yourself by your wisdom? What if you measured yourself by the kindness you have shown others? What if you measured yourself by the lives you have touched? The answer might surprise you, because your greatest achievements may not be the things you accomplished. Your greatest achievements may be the person you became. Perhaps your greatest achievement was raising children who felt loved. Perhaps it was caring for a spouse during difficult times. Perhaps it was working hard when life demanded more from you than you thought you could give. Perhaps it was surviving a painful season that nearly broke you. Perhaps it was getting out of bed on mornings when your heart felt heavy. Perhaps it was choosing forgiveness when bitterness seemed easier. Perhaps it was offering kindness when nobody expected it. These victories rarely make headlines. They rarely receive awards. Yet they are among the most meaningful accomplishments a human being can achieve. There is a beautiful truth that younger generations often do not fully understand. The strongest people in the room are not always the loudest. They are not always the fastest. They are not always the most successful by society's standards. Often, the strongest people are the ones who quietly carried responsibilities for decades. The ones who endured challenges without giving up. The ones who continued loving others through difficult seasons. The ones who remained faithful to their values, even when life became complicated. The ones who kept showing up, year after year, season after season, storm after storm. And if that describes you, then your life contains a strength that cannot be measured by age. As you move forward from today, I hope you remember something important. Your story is not finished. As long as you are here, your story continues. There are still conversations to have. Still memories to create, still kindness to give, still lessons to share, still people to encourage, still reasons to smile, still sunsets to watch, still laughter to enjoy, still moments to treasure. Too many people assume that life becomes less meaningful as the years pass. The opposite is often true. Many older adults discover a depth of appreciation that younger people have not yet learned. They understand the value of time. They understand the importance of relationships. They understand that happiness often hides inside ordinary moments. A warm cup of coffee, a phone call from someone you love, a grandchild's laugh, a beautiful morning, a familiar song, a quiet evening. These moments may seem small, but together they create a rich and meaningful life. Perhaps that is one of aging's greatest gifts. It teaches us to notice what truly matters, not the things that impress people, but the things that nourish the soul. And so, if you are between the ages of 65 and 85, or even beyond, remember this. You are not defined by the years behind you. You are defined by the wisdom you gained from those years. You are not defined by what time has taken away. You are defined by what remains. The love that remains, the hope that remains, the courage that remains, the compassion that remains, the gratitude that remains, the strength that remains, and those qualities are incredibly powerful. In fact, they may be more valuable today than they have ever been, because the world needs people who know how to persevere. The world needs people who know how to forgive. The world needs people who know how to appreciate life's simple blessings. The world needs people who understand that kindness matters. The world needs people who have learned that love is more important than pride. The world needs people like you. So the next time someone asks how old you are, remember that age is only one part of your story. The more important question is this: how much wisdom have you gained? How much love have you shared? How much hope do you still carry? How much kindness do you still give? Because those are the things that truly define a life well lived. And if you still possess the abilities we discussed today, curiosity, adaptability, connection, joy, and hope, then there is a very good chance that you are aging better than most. Not because you are perfect. Not because life has been easy. But because through all the ups and downs, through all the victories and losses, through all the changes and challenges, you have managed to hold onto the qualities that matter most. And that is something truly extraordinary. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself. Be proud of how far you have come. Cherish the people you love. Treasure the moments you have. And never forget that some of the most beautiful chapters of life are not found at the beginning of the story. Sometimes they are found in the pages that come later, written with wisdom, grace, courage, and a heart that continues to shine despite the passing years. And that, perhaps, is the greatest sign of all, that you are aging beautifully.